Alright, well we are now live. We're gonna wait for people to filter in, and then we'll do intros and stuff. I actually got a background of the two of us. So I have a Grizzz Rage. I have like a collection of backgrounds. It's like they're like Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. People say I've got confessions to make. Listen up, no one sleeps when I'm awake. I love this song. I don't know why. Yeah. Wait just a little longer for people to get in. Hello, Oni. Hello, Azza, chilling in the chat. Hello, Door Company. We're gonna do intros in a bit. Dude, I love this song. The song is so good. I don't know why I love this song so much, but it's so good. Plus, the lead singer of this band looks like one of my friends. And she apparently took that as a compliment. I'm like, dude, this girl looks like you when you're 30. Listen up, no one sleeps when I'm away.
It's just interesting.
What?
For the Skype call, I'm hearing out of my left and right ear, but when I go onto the Twitch account, I'm only hearing out of my right ear.
Huh, weird. Hey Frost, hey Flaming. The event will start in a little bit. I just want to finish the song. Like, we got this far in it. Bobbing your head, just chilling with some music. Gonna let a few more people filter in. This is everyone greeting each other. You do that, Kano. I just ate. I ate peanut butter pretzels and dipped in jelly. Alright guys, welcome everybody to Casted Games Night. No, this is not Casted Games Night. This is game analysis night. Sockymans getting it wrong, and today I'm joined by my co-caster, at least if his internet holds out, Grizzz Rage.
Hello, well, and hopefully it does.
Yeah, it's annoying. What ISP do you use?
Bright House.
Are you in like one of those areas that need the satellite, or
No?
No, because I've never heard of that ISP.
It is. I'm trying to think of the actual true ISP name, and I can't think of it. How does Frosty Fern know who I am?
I don't know. Probably because you've talked in community chat at least once in the last. I don't know. Anyway, that that was a really fun song to start out. Grizzz actually suggested. This is a funny story. Grizzz actually suggested 80s porn music, and I looked it up, and it would have been like you wouldn't have really known what it was. It was, but oh my god, I just couldn't do it, man. Couldn't do it. Would have been like
best music ever, man.
because you can just like there's some music where you just like where you hear it and you're like that sounds like porn music, like it's just like a tick. Oh.
Obvious is on the porn music.
It's just like, yeah. So, I guess we should hop on into a game here. For those of you who don't know, Game Analysis Night is pretty much where we both take on the role of colorcaster, talk about, the picks, how they affect the game, what people need to do, things of that nature. And really just kind of break down a game from more of an analysis standpoint, as opposed to, just casting it. So, let me quickly find a game here. Who's in that game? Yeah.
Oh, the heck, I can't milk Alistair Flame.
You can't milk those.
Alright. Let me know when I can.
Alright.
Okay, I do have these.
So I got a question, guys. You want to do you want to spec one of the spectate games? I have some people from Blacklisted up here, or we can actually Pooksy just started a game 2 minutes ago from Voi's girlfriend. We can watch her play. Come on, chat. Shout. Use your voices. I'm going to let you be the deciding. Why have her on my friends list? Well, or Team Blacklisted. Okay, I don't think the chat's gonna
I
give
think
us.
they're more interested in what the
So
cat wants to
I'm
listen
just gonna spec a random game here, and we're gonna be hopping right into it. This game is gonna be just a solo queue game. It looks like already.
Oni wants to stalk/watch Pooksky.
Oh, Oni, why didn't you tell me a few seconds ago? Either way, we have two people with one person with revive. Oh, two people with revive on one team and one person with revive on. Is this solo queue or I don't even know what this is anymore. I'm not sure what we're walking into. Oh nope, it's Dominion. This was apparently a Dominion game.
I am not gonna spectate you because we're not casting Dominion.
I can't. I don't know anything about Dominion strategy. They're actually, I will say this, there is a pretty heavy strategy with Dominion games, though. Screw it, we're going with Pooksy.
The strategy Dominion is long-range champions that keep them off towers, man.
Well, but there's strategies with what you take and how you hold things, and this probably looks a little more like a solo queue game here. A little more original summoners. The revives... Revive is actually a good spell in Dominion, but not that much so on Summoner's Rift unless you're playing Karthus or Rammus, something like that. So just breaking it down real quick, it looks like the game is actually just starting here. I'm gonna be hopping in here. We're going to see in the top lane. We're going to have a Kha'Zix versus what looks like to be an Elise. In the jungle, we are going to have Shyvana, who I haven't seen much of recently, but is still an incredibly strong champion in my opinion, especially with certain team comps. Like I could imagine that Thresh and Shyvana would definitely work well together because Shyvana clumps them up. Thresh can ult, everyone, put his ult around everyone. Then Ezreal really, kind of synergizes with that too. I like to see Orianna and Shyvana. I really think that both of those are, I guess I'd have to say, really strong It's a really strong matchup because Shyvana dives in, groups up the team, and Ori ults, and that just kind of clumps everyone together.
It would be team synergy.
Is no impairment against a smelly enemy.
Definitely very high synergy between Shyvana and a lot of AoE comps. Like she just works well because her ultimate clumps up the enemy team, just like Jarvan holds everyone together. Are you in the game yet, Grizzz?
Yep, I just got in and I'm just rearranging my champs here. Give me a second.
Alright, well, it looks like we're going to see red starts for both junglers. Both junglers not really needing blue, and taking red early and ganking is very, very plausible on both champions. Shyvana, very, very fast, so if she were to be able to get behind Jace, you know, it would be really good. Note Jace is waiting there. He almost kind of expects it. So, I think we could see an early gank here. Because Shyvana did burn Smite. Maybe she doesn't want to go for it, though. Yeah, it looks like she's just going to continue to farm. Not sure what Lee... Looks like he's just going to continue to farm his jungle as well.
Yeah, not much going on right now as, you know, normally you see people start rushing, dealing quite a bit of damage. Early game, bottom Thresh is taking quite a bit of damage going in there to try and poke, but not working out too well for him.
That was a very, very nice ward by Jace right there. I wonder if he even saw Shyvana go in there. Oh, nope, yeah, he did, but he's baiting it out. As you can see, Lee Sin is coming up as well. Shyvana is going to go out there. That was actually why we saw Shyvana go for the double golems instead of do what Lee did and walk up to the blue and get double buffs fast, which is a really fast way to level up.
See, and unfortunately, if they don't get any kills out of this play right here, it's going to be a bad thing for Kha'Zix and for Lee Sin, just due to the simple fact of they are going to be behind levels, especially on that Akali, but it looks like they will wind up picking up that kill and first blood. Onto that Shyvana, so the experience layout is actually going to be okay as long as Akali doesn't come up and get a couple kills.
Which it looks like we're going to see probably Pooksy go down in the top lane there too. The three members of the blue team still in bot lane, or still in top lane up here. Akali really chose not to roam after that Kha'Zix, and only after 2 kills did he finally decide to do something.
Now that play would have been spectacular if obviously Lee Sin didn't die. But with it being a 2-for-1 and them getting first blood, but 2 flashes being burned, well, 3 flashes, 1 for the Shyvana, and Lee Sin and Kha'Zix also burning their flash.
Yeah, we did see both junglers were able to pick up that Madred's Razor, so they're both going to be, you know, decently identical clear times if they choose to continue farming. Lee Sin did get boots, but with Shyvana's burnout, it's not too detrimental that he didn't really, or wasn't really able to pick that up. In the mid lane here, we do see Kha'Zix getting the back earlier. This Akali probably going to be forced to stay in lane or have her tower pushed, but getting that early tier, that's going to give him an early advantage. Although Akali, you know, may not have roamed, but she does have a CS lead. Not as much as I'd like to have seen a CS lead out of her, especially because she literally was able to sit mid for a few minutes and Lee Sin
getting caught out, obviously due to no wording right there in that bush. But the one thing that the Akali did or does have over this Kha'Zix is at a certain point in time she did have a 2-level lead on him, but now she is back at 2 at 1. But still taking quite a bit of damage. She needs to hit that level 6 to get her burst up.
Yeah, even then, Kha'Zix is incredibly strong in the early game. Akali really needs to get to that mid game for her full power.
Have some pings going out. They can sense Shyvana is somewhere near, and as you can see, they just spotted her out.
Yeah, definitely. We do see they might want to look to engage this. Shyvana is still there, and she is very fast. Yeah, that burnout giving her a lot of extra movement speed. We could see a kill. No barrier's going to come out, and they might think that Lee Sin's nearby. This Lee Sin, one thing I think he's doing really well, he may have 2 deaths, which, you know, is going to make him pretty much the least value gold target. So if he keeps dying, that's not going to be the most negative thing for his team. But he's always responding to the Shyvana's ganks. He's trying to.
I think he's just really getting lucky in that aspect of just happening to be in the same neck of the woods as the Shyvana when it comes to jungling.
By the way, we saw Akali did hit 6, and now the Kazakhs a little bit scared, so that is going to be the slight advantage of Akali not roaming.
Yeah, unfortunately, as soon as Akali hits level 6, man, she's very dangerous if you don't have anybody that doesn't have like a true long gap escape. But even then, you have to bait out her ultimate 3 times, so she breaks her charges down just so you can escape. So you have to build yourself towards surviving that burst DPS.
Yeah, I would like to know in the bot lane here, we did have Ezreal going for a Philo Stone, I guess, having those 2 items. So he is down a lot of sustain from this Varus. Varus able to get Vamp Scepter and a little more damage, whereas Ezreal just getting some early regen. Maybe he thought he was going to get crushed a little harder, but even then that puts him a lot farther behind, you know, just by not having the extra sustain.
Yeah, he doesn't have that damage, the sustained damage, but he does have the sustainability to spam spells.
Even then, though, he's just going to get forced out of lane by Varus.
True. Probably thinking, oh, I'm playing Ezreal, my Q hurts, but guess what? You're playing against a Varus. Varus Q hits a lot harder than your Q Ezreal.
Yeah, I just really don't think that those were smart buys at all, and they kind of just delayed the items you need. Like 80 carries, you have some choice in what you buy and the order you buy it, but you can't really build 80 carries multiple ways. Like they only have one or so ways that they are truly effective.
Absolutely. I mean, on certain champions, you rush the obviously the sword, and now on other champions, you rush for the. Crud, I'm having issues trying to remember. I hate that item's name. What's the other sword?
Doran's Blade?
No, the one that does the slow. Like the one you build on Kog'Maw, Blade of the Rune King.
Yeah, Blade of the Rune King.
Yeah, on some AD carries you can rush that, but for the most part, it's Bloodthirster, man.
I keep
going back to the old meta.
You know, one thing I keep trying to tell people that that is a good item, and every time I do that, people always make fun of me, and I think actually one of them might be watching the stream, probably not, but. I always keep telling him, like, dude, I'm telling you, man, Sword of the Divine is a good item, because literally it's not like a good as in pro item, but it works. It literally turns, the reason it's not good in a traditional sense is because literally Sword of the Divine turns your sustained 80 burst damage it turns your sustained 80 damage into burst damage, and it gives you less sustained damage, and that's ultimately why you have an 80 carry, is for a lot of sustained damage.
Yeah, Sword of Divine, isn't that the three attack crit proc item?
Yeah, 3 instant attacks that are all crits. So it's so brutal on characters like Tristana, Caitlyn, or Vayne.
I would think it would probably be a really good item on a Jace.
It might be even good on. Oh, I actually wanted to try it on Jace. I had this idea for a Jace build where you build 80 carry Jace, and you maxed your 3 attack skill first. So what you do is you max that 3 attack skill, and then after that, you literally, so you use your 3 attacks, then pop Sword of the Divine, so you get 6 instant attacks, 3 of which are guaranteed crits.
Kookski just demolishing that Jace up top. Unfortunately, Jace trying to go in too strong, especially against him, who can escape his attacks for 30 seconds.
Yeah, one thing about Jace is that Jace is a very, very strong top laner, has the ability to outplay a lot of other top laners, but his engagement style is literally very. Ooh, it looks like that might be trade. No, Ignite's not going to tick down. That was really well played by the Akali, knowing exactly how much damage she has. But as I was saying, Jace, the way he trades and the way he lanes is by going in and jumping out. And Elise is really good at not letting you disengage. So she's a really hard engager, and she has that repel and the venom, which I believe gap closes very slightly.
And she has more burst damage if Jace doesn't land his Q to initiate the attack. Really bad spot to try and be. But
Yeah.
in Elise being an Elise with her disengage, that's what I'm talking about. You initiate with that Q. Both flashes going down, Jace won't be able to pick up this kill.
Yeah. If I'm still correct, I know it used to. I think Riot is talking about going away. No, it still does gain. You still do gain movement speed from that. So, Spider Form giving you a little bit of bonus movement speed.
Yes. I really don't see them changing that, because that's one of her key abilities of chasing people down. Because she's a burst assassin. She needs that movement speed.
And
Lulu just being in bad position altogether, getting bursted down.
one thing I have to say is Red Team are really doing a good job of kind of saving this game. Blue Team had a really, really convincing lead, but we're starting to see Akali really getting her late game. We're starting to see Shyvana kind of have a really big impact on this game now. She's be able to roam a lot, and she kind of really came back from that early kind of stupor that Lee Sin put him in. So
yeah, one thing I will say, Red's team ability to adapt to the ganks that is going on through Blue Team is really, really strong. As soon as Akali sees Lee Sin or her lane down there, she's there in an instant. She's reacting really well to this Lee Sin's ganking. And unfortunately, Lee Sin kind of not being able to predict or to even counter this Shyvana's ganking.
So let's take a step back here and look at not just at the plays here, but let's take a look at the items for a second here. We see fairly standard items coming out for both top lane champions. Jace building what you'd expect from a Jace going against an Elise. That Hex Drinker, in my opinion, is a very, very good item against any AP top lane or mid lane.
Absolutely, it gives you that shield, which is actually really troll when you're playing an AP top. But the one thing I do not like that Poochie built first was that Haunting, guys. You're going against a Jace. Build tanky, build sustain.
Well, that's literally what that is, like the core Elise, the early lane build. Like every single Elise you'll ever meet almost gets Haunting guys first, and
that's a fine item if you're going against an actual true melee champ, not a ranged champ. If you're going against a ranged champ top, you have to build tanky first.
Yeah, I do agree with what you're saying, but ooh, there's that 250 magic damage shield. I don't know if Akali, yeah, not gonna get away.
Akali's ability, man, if you don't have the flash up, you're kind of screwed.
And even if you do, it depends on how many ult stacks you have.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't like that Kha'Zix's jump doesn't allow you to escape. It threshes all.
I don't think many things do. In all honesty, I think it kind of negates a lot of things.
I've never seen it. Couldn't Ezreal?
I think Ezreal's might, but things like Corki's Shift or like Corki's Valkyrie. Anything that where you don't actually disappear and reappear, like I think you can flash it too. Ooh, nice Ezreal ult there. Ezreal having red buffs, so they actually might pick up more. But
see, and this is a really weird item. I've never seen an AD carry pick up. It's Spirit of the Elder Lizard.
So you want me to explain this item? Because we actually watched the game a while ago where we saw Ezreal. It's not good on any other AD carry other than Ezreal. And he's going a very poke-heavy Ezreal build. And this Ezreal build, the first person I saw do it was Elements. I don't know if he's the first person that came up with this, but I credit Elements with coming up with it. And Oh, it was so brilliant. What happened is he built Lizard Elder, he built Frozen Gauntlet, and he built Static Shiv, I believe was his 3 items. Each one of Ezreal's Qs was hitting for 500 or so damage. Like, I think he might have even... No, he didn't have a Miramana. He might have had a Miramana, actually, too. I don't think the Miramana is a maybe, but he had Frozen Gauntlet, Static Shiv, and Lizard Elder, and what he did is he'd Q, and it'd proc his Sheen, get the extra damage from that. You know, Lizard Elder giving 50 attack damage and, you know, decent amount of other damage. Static Shiv magic damage would pop. I think 200 damage from Gauntlet would proc along with the Sheen. I think it still applies the Sheen proc, doesn't it? Or no, it doesn't. But it literally did about 4, and then it applied the red lizard dot. But it was literally kind of brilliant.
Interesting. I so want to freaking play-by-play this bottom engagement going on right now.
I know. It's like that's the hardest part about game analysis night is you have, you know, as a play-by-play caster, you kind of just have this trigger in your head.
You just want to start freaking play-by-playing. It's bad with me, which is why I'm starting to do this and starting to learn color.
Yeah. One thing I want to say that was a big mistake in that fight is blue team. Did blue team ended up picking up the dragon, right?
Yes, they did.
I really think that they stuck around just a little bit too long in that engagement there. I really think red team almost doing the same thing, but you saw Lulu kind of hung around in the jungle a little bit, and then Kha'Zix and Lee Sin just kind of waited in the dragon pit. You saw that Kha'Zix had his jump, and literally Lee Sin had his dash, and he ended up dashing. But they could have done that about 10 seconds earlier. I really don't think they had to wait that long.
In my personal opinion, they got dragon, disengage. Red team is a lot stronger than them at this current point in time. Just get that dragon, get that global gold back out. Don't give up, you know, as many kills as they did without picking up, you know, the same amount. I think they only picked up 1 kill from that engagement. And it was the Akali.
See, they killed Lulu. Yeah, they actually got the Akali. Akali staying a little bit too long. I think Akali could have even lived there. We really just saw her dive the Varus and not have any of her abilities up, so I don't know. That was kind of weird. I don't know what she was expecting to do, but Twilight Shroud did have a slow, or does have a slow attached to it. I don't know how big of a slow. I'm going to check real quick. And Twilight Shroud it has a 14% slow, so if she would have popped the Shroud, went invisible so Varus couldn't attack her and just ran out the other side. Thresh was also there and could have done some healing. That plus the slow, I believe Akali would have been able to get away.
Absolutely. Now here comes the Shyvana ultimate.
I don't know if you noticed, but look, the Ezreal Q's doing a lot there. He only has the Lizard Elder, so there's pretty much right now he just has a dot attached to his Q. Essentially, ooh, Ezreal doing a pretty nice play there. I want to see him get this.
And he won't. Oh, he tried to. Oh, that killed him.
That was well played by the Varus, though. What we saw Varus do is Ezreal kind of just used his Q in the position that Varus would have used if he was running away. So not only did that take his Q down, but you saw him use his Arcane Shift about 5 seconds earlier. So literally Varus is like, well, I'm going to turn and fight, and he was able to burst down the Ezreal before either of those 2 spells were up. So that was very
well. It really was only a single auto attack for Ezreal, and Ezreal started to cycle his ultimate. That was his biggest mistake, because literally Varus was 1 auto attack away from death, and Ezreal could have
just auto attacked
finished off Varus. Just could have auto attacked him once and picked up that kill. But let's see if ultimate isn't dealing quite a bit of damage. But like I said, you heard that ultimate cycle up for Ezreal, and Ezreal just died.
I believe that ultimate actually, yeah, actually Ezreal's spells also inflicting the Spirit of the Lizard Elders extra damage. So actually, you saw there was a little bit of an extra burn there. I thought that was kind of interesting. So his ultimate actually is going to do more damage than it would have as well, along with the Lizard Elder. Oh, and it also gives cooldown reduction. Both with this build is basically as I was telling you earlier about the build. It's basically max cooldown reduction, max poke. Like you want to poke with this build.
So you're not going for the traditional auto attack build. You're just going for high sustained poke damage.
Yeah, and then when they're low enough, you can finally engage. Because as you see, I mean, Lizard Elder, it has 45 attack damage. I was wrong about the 50. 45 attack damage. I believe, I know for a fact that Gauntlet only gives you 30 ability power, which doesn't, I believe your Q still, as Ezreal scales off ability power a little bit. Not as high as AD scaling. Yeah, just a little bit of ability power. And,
yeah, only her ultimate has a high ability power scaling. Or his ultimate, I'm sorry.
It's practically a girl.
I have a high issue calling Ezreal a chick. I don't know why.
You have an issue, or?
Yeah. No matter what I try, it's always her.
Yeah. I do think that blue team has slowly been throwing... They're still ahead on gold, but the reason that they're ahead on gold is because they know the importance of objectives. So far in this match, we've seen blue team take Dragon, and they're up 2 towers. So even though red team is beating them on kills, and the champions individually probably a little bit stronger at this point, like at least a few champions are. I really think
the nice thing about the blue team is their kills are where they should be on the Varus. Because that's where their damage is going to come from.
That is true. Varus actually has a Bloodthirster and a Static Shiv. And Ezreal, even though he's building this interesting build, I mean, it's not a terribly bad build. Like, I've seen it work. And, again, I saw Elements play a few games on it, and he did really well. But Varus is just going to have a lot more sustained damage, which is why you play an AD carry in the first place.
Absolutely. You can just see that damage coming out from this Varus right off the bat, just burning down that Thresh. He also picked off that Ezreal early on and dropped Ezreal down, which allowed the blue team to engage because Ezreal was nowhere near to be able to fight and add that extra damage. But unfortunately, Akali is pretty fed, and having the ability to just come in and assassinate people is just highly strong.
That was a very key exhaust there. I mean, she did eventually get the Varus, which is going to be a lot of gold going back to her, but I'd like to see Ezreal do a lot more. One thing I notice he's doing, and one thing that Varus is doing extremely well, is he knows how to attack move. And as an AD carry, attack moving, literally doing that correctly, pretty much gives you about an extra third on your damage output, probably even more.
Well, not just if you're just standing still, you're not leaving yourself in proper positioning. If you're doing the attack move, you're keeping yourself always in a constant good state of positioning.
Yeah, putting out auto attacks.
But the thing that put that fight highly into blue team's favor was Varus caught out Ezreal with the ward that's right there to the entrance of blue, and almost killed Ezreal by himself while the other team engaged. Ezreal was nowhere near to help deal damage, but Varus was, which is what turned that fight highly into blue team's favor.
Yeah, one thing that the main part where I would have liked to see Ezreal do this, and I mean he's been doing it the whole game. Again, if he would have attack moved that Varus as opposed to running away then trying to charge his ult, he would have gotten the kill earlier. But when the Kazakhs... Oh, what
sorry.
were you say?
I'll pretty much, unfortunately, the blue team's ability to have wards out is a lot better than purple teams right now, or red teams right now, which is real detrimental to red team, because they don't know where the team is at any point in time right now. I mean, if you look, I see one ward at Baron.
Definitely. What I was gonna say is Ezreal really had this, like, Kha'Zix jumped on him in the last fight, and during that last fight, he really kind of just, you know, like, he could have attack moved a few times and saved his arcane shift for a more crucial moment and stayed in that fight, but, you know, he arcane shifted out and then walked back in, so, you know, that kind of cuts down his damage a little more.
Yeah, and one thing that I will say that could be a lot better is Puski's ability to go back and jump on this Varus. That's her job. She's an assassin. She needs to get back there and take Varus out of team fights.
Right now, though, we're seeing... Ooh, oh, Ezreal... Oh, you don't want your AD carried that far up. Again, this Ezreal also using his arcane shift a bit too aggressively.
Yeah, arcane shifting under tower, no bueno, especially against the Kha'Zix will slow you and deal quite a bit of damage.
Oh yeah, if Kha'Zix felt like turning that around and getting a kill on the Ezreal, that 100% would have been a kill. And ooh, as we saw Ezreal going through this corridor right here, not quite going to be hitting Varus there.
Now we see the gold advantage going to the team due to the simple fact that they have 2 assassins and 2 assassins that have kills.
Yeah, Akali right now has 10 kills. That's a pretty hefty chunk of gold. And she did go Gunblade and Zhonya's as her first 2 items.
So she's looking for high burst ability, 0 survivability, except with that Zhonya's. Zhonya's really isn't a tank item. It's a I jump in and I kill your AD carry and I pop that while my team catches up item.
Yeah, you do that, and it also lets your cooldowns reset. You know, it's
absolutely
really good about that. Because normally, if you're a burst caster and you jump in, you're kind of, after your cooldowns are up, you have your pants down for like 3 to 4 seconds. That kind of makes it, I believe Zhonya's is for 3 seconds, 2.5. So that gives you the window that you need to kind of get your skills back and pull your pants back up.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm going back to what I said earlier with the purple team's inability to ward. Right there, that just goes to show what happens when you have a lack of wards on the playing field.
Very nice job about Pooksy. You kind of baiting that Lulu ult out. I don't know the exact cooldown of it, so I don't know if it's going to be gone for this next fight. Looks like it's on about an 80-second cooldown.
Yeah, it will be down for the next team engagement if this goes out. Lee Sin, nice flash, but Pooksy following it up with her own. It looks like she probably will get caught out with that exhaust going down. Won't be able to catch up to the Lee Sin, and Varus just demolishing her.
She was trying so hard.
She was. If that exhaust didn't come down, she would have died. Ooh.
Again, as you see, Ezreal arcane shifts out of the fight, and he literally is forced to walk back into the fight, kind of negating some of his damage. I mean, it was an arcane shift to get him the focus off him, but he has enough slow and enough kite. I mean, did he have a red buff during that fight? No, but he has.
No, that was Spirit of the Elder Lizard.
You mean Iceborne? I believe
Iceborne doesn't burn.
No, but it has the slow. I was just making sure if he had
but he had the burn. Kha'Zix had the burn on him.
Yeah, I was more trying to see, like, to note that this build he can really kite, because Iceborne Gauntlet is 100% chance to slow. It's not like
absolutely. As soon as you throw an ability, it pops it down.
It's one reason why I feel like we don't see Frozen Mallet much, because that's only like what, a 20% chance, a 30% chance.
Absolutely, but if you're going on, like, let's say an Olaf build, you're going to want to use the Frozen Mallet more than the Iceborne Gauntlet, just due to the fact of the Frozen Mallet.
Help you.
No, the Frozen Mallet gives you health, and that's one major thing. But then again, we don't see that many Olafs nowadays.
He kind of fell out when Riot did that nerf. I mean, it wasn't a nerf to put him into the ground. Like, he's still a viable champion. Unfortunately, it really made him unplayable in a pro scene. And as you know,
not as in a pro circuit. His early game is still strong with his true damage being dealt with his E. but it doesn't scale that well late game because it's just a straight stat instead of it being instead of it getting stronger with the amount of health that you have.
Yeah. Ooh, and look, as we're seeing Ezreal's kite ability here with this build. Just able to slow. Ooh, misses a Q though, so he might.
Well, it's not just that he has the slow ability. He has also the tank ability, especially versus that Jace with the Frozen Gauntlet.
They blew a whole lot to get that Jace, but I think they're gonna get a Baron off it. So, you know, if they end up getting this Baron, it might be worth it. I don't think. Oh, that is not good. That is going to slow down their Baron and reveal the fact that they're doing Baron to Kha'Zix and Lee. They now have the blue team's jungler up here, and Ezreal, who was a lot of their damage, isn't going to be there anymore.
No, and unfortunately that was going well for the red team's favor, killing out that Jason, only leaving one member up. They should have went straight for the Baron, but with Ezreal getting caught, you know, they still pick up that Baron and possibly a couple of kills here. Blue team doesn't have the sustain yet with Varus not being there.
Also, one thing I'm noticing is this Lee Sin just can't be a middle of the... He just can't sit in the middle of the team. I don't know if you noticed there, but Lulu was sitting in the whole team, tanking the team. Lulu is tankier than their Lee Sin right now, and you know, that's really not what you want to see. And Jace, being the tankiest person on the fight, was dead because they did pick him off top lane. So I'd really like to see Lee kind of catching up with the tankiness of like Elise or Shyvana, because at this time, he literally cannot stay in fights. He can't be in the center, and that's really where Lee Sin's effective.
No, and they made the #1 mistake of going in one at a time. They got Baron. They weren't there as a team. They could not engage, but they went in one at a time and got picked off. They should have just said, hey guys, they got Baron. They got this. Back off. Defend towers.
And Ezreal died to Baron. That was pretty huge.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ezreal not playing that smartly. Just due to simple fact, she should know she can't sit there and tank Baron because she doesn't have any lifesteal items.
No, definitely not. And at this point, I think she does have most of his poke build. The only thing he could get after that is a static Shiv. As you can see, he's going for some tankiness, but again, this build is a poke build. And even so, I'd really would have liked to see a Bloodthirster, because Bloodthirster does have a lot of AD attached to it. So if you're trying to poke, you know, it just helps.
Well, it's not just going to give you that whole bunch of damage. It's going to give you survivability,
which is another thing he needs in prolonged fights to kite. You know, like Jace. Jace is incredibly tanky, and after he gets that Bork, I don't know how Ezreal's going to run away, especially if Jace has his flash up, and he does have a gap closer.
Yeah, I think it'll be bad news as soon as she finishes up that Rune King for Ezreal. But Ezreal still does have that escapability.
That's one of the reasons why people play Ezreal. He has 2 flashes at beck and call most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, all Ezreal has to do is have a good thought process to where, hey, I'm against the Jace, I am not going to Arcane Shift forward, I'm going to Arcane Shift over a wall, see if I can force a flash, or if he doesn't obviously flash, he's not going to get me.
Yeah. One thing I really like seeing, since we're talking about really mobile champions, is really good LeBlanc play or really good Shaco play, because those 2 champions really take a lot of mental skill and knowledge of the map and the battlefield and where your opponents are, you know, to play those 2 champions.
Well, the major thing with Shaco, he is a high twitch reflex play. Just due to the simple fact that, yeah, he's super squishy, no way to play him tanky at all. So if someone's using an ultimate on you, you have to have that fast reflex time to be able to hit your ultimate, so your ultimate soaks in their ultimate or their strong attack.
are going to see maybe a good engagement here. Red team having the good engagement. Shyvana is tanky enough in her ultimate to kind of make it so fighting under the tower is possible. And it looks like one thing Ezreal did well in that fight is he stayed in the back. Like, the right people tanked the tower. And as you can see, blue team tried to respond there. It just wasn't going to be enough. Thresh had the lockdown, Shyvana had the ult, and they just weren't able to escape that except for Varus, who did have good positioning and he was in the back line. But looks like he's going to go down now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ezreal going
Oh my
down.
god,
Wow.
neither of those kills were necessary.
No, they
Neither
weren't.
of them. I think that might even stop them from winning right now. Yeah.
Yes, it will. But the one thing I will have to say, the one thing red team does have over the blue team right now is they do have a tank that's a really strong tank right now. But they have 2 assassins. A lot of damage. Lee Sin has been effectively shut down. If you look at his items, he is, I would say, a 0 help in team fights right now.
Much farther behind than the rest of the team, than the rest of the people in this game at the moment. Still making, you know, Lee Sin really his damage falls off late game. He's another champion. He still has some utility. He still has that mobility. But all in all, he's just going to be a tank that's kicking you and has one kick that has, you know, a disable, which is really helpful in team fights. I just that Thresh and that Ezreal just tanking unnecessary towers and dying, like that literally made it so they, you know,
they couldn't just push for the win.
Yeah, they could have pushed for the win.
I could say one thing could have gone a lot better during that team engagement. Lulu's ultimate should not have been placed on Lee Sin. Lulu's ultimate should have been placed on Jace.
That definitely would have done a lot more help. Jace definitely putting a lot more damage out. He also, he does have that Bork now, which is going to help him stick to characters like Ezreal. I mean, even then, like, at the moment, they have Elise and Shyvana, 2 huge front lines, and Thresh is pretty tanky as well. On top of that, the huge tank lines, they do have those 2 assassins and Ezreal, who are just going to be putting out damage. So in a 5v5 fight, I'd see red team winning this almost 100% of the time. In this case, however, though, red team just catching out members, or blue team catching out members of the red team, and that was an extremely bad fight for all of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Kali trying to catch out that Lee Sin, but having the whole team behind them put that team engagement into their favor. Shyvana ulting in to actually get the disengage and working very well. She sacrificed herself to save the Ezreal and the Thresh, turning that from an ace, well, not an ace, but for a 4v0, 4-0, she changed that to a 2-death instead of a 4-death.
Might actually see a Baron come out here, but again, not really a smart idea as they are really low. And actually, they're going to be forced to back off. Red team could almost do a Baron in response.
I mean, you have full health, or almost full health Ezreal. If she had a Bloodthirster, should be full health. And an almost full health Elise, and their team, 3 members being super low. They just gave away a free Baron.
Yeah, they can't fight this right now. They have to back off, and to get back is going to take at least 30 seconds. At the moment, all the people who have the damage required to put down this Baron fast enough are up. Ooh, that would have been beautiful if that Q stole it. That was the perfect range. Unfortunately, you know, it's
a little late.
Yeah, a little late.
A second sooner, and he would have got it. That's literally probably a millisecond sooner, and he would have stole it.
I really don't like this Akali going that far ahead. I feel like
she's starting to throw.
Yeah, this Akali, what she's doing is just like I said. Right now, red team, huge front wall. Their front wall is almost impenetrable. Ezreal has been safe almost every fight, and he's been able to live and just throw out poke damage, which is what his build is kind of, shaping up to be right now.
His damage is going to be quite high, too, if you see he finished off that mere mana.
Yeah, that's going to give him some extra burst. I think his Qs will probably be proccing for about 600 to 700 damage on a full mirror mana stack.
Absolutely, and in all practicality, if this Akali keeps playing the way she's going, and I know the mentality that she has right now, she's like, hey guys, I'm carrying, I'm fed, I'm all the damage, why aren't you guys up here with me? I'm fighting the team, blah blah blah. She could effectively throw the game playing that way.
And as you saw, just as you're watching this fight unfold in front of you, you just see the front line for the red team. They stuck like glue to Varus. Varus doing a great job at attack moving, doing a great job at trying to get away. Lee Sin actually peeling off his front line position, coming back and trying to stop them from, being able to chase the stretch, but it just wasn't working out. Like, you just couldn't do it. Shyvana has so much movement speed, and that Frozen Mallet, again, like you were saying, Frozen Mallet still scales on some champions better than other slowing items. But that Frozen Mallet just making it so Varus can't get away, and Elise did fall down, but Shyvana still escaped.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a 1-for-5.
Yeah,
in the red team's favor, and red team is going to push and easily win this.
Yeah. And that will be actually a victory. Blue team, had a few good fights in the early game there. In the top lane, they did take first blood, and I believe they also got they got 2 kills and
2 kills for one death.
But they still ended up taking first blood. So in the very early game, they made some very good plays. Lee Sin definitely was a powerful jungler in the early game, but he slowly just fell off and became useless because he kept doing this roam and all things like that, and didn't really have any damage, didn't really bring much into the team fight, and that's kind of what Lee Sin does. After a certain point of the game, you really have to win with Lee Sin before the 30-minute mark, because he's slowly going to become less and less useful in team fights.
Well, like he said, early game, it was blue teams. Lee Sin was ganking, he was highly active, but once we hit that about 8-minute mark, you saw nothing of Lee Sin. And you kept seeing more and more as the game progressed of Shyvana ganking, whereas Lee Sin was just sticking to the jungle or getting caught out and dying.
Alright guys, well, that will be the end of the first game for Casta Games. That actually lasted the whole first hour. That was a long game.
You want to play some commercials and take a quick break?
We usually just wait for another game. I was told to play this song. I'll play it for a while, I guess. The viewer sent me the song and want me to play it. We're going to look for a new game. Feel free to ask us any questions in chat. Toothhard, I'm not really sure where what your question's referring to. I'd be happy to answer it. Oh, the pro amateur tournament. That's what you're talking about. The pro amateur tournament. Yeah, it's in the works right now. I'm not sure when it's going to release. Why you so much of a Sockymans? Because I exist. I am Sockymans and I exist as such. Yeah, we decided that a low ELO tournament is kind of necessary because, I mean, our tower dive tournament is fun, but when you're a low ELO team trying to play, it's kind of hard when you see eventually, like 1 or 2 rounds in, you'll just get beaten by you know, just get beaten by these platinum and diamond teams. Alright, dude, I love that Ezreal build. I love that Ezreal build last game. He didn't... Elements definitely did a lot more justice on it, because, oh my god, his Qs hit for like a fourth of people's health. It was ridiculous. I don't know what he did differently. I wrote down the build and then lost it.
Oh, I found out the issue that is wrong with my headset.
If I have the... Sorry if I have the music so quiet. I'm just trying to talk. Alright. So, Grizzz?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to hop in another game soon?
Absolutely.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love Armor of the 5th Age Taric. I need it. I just have green Taric. I need pink Taric.
Truly outrageous.
By the way, I heard a song that I think... you know the song Jen by Freeze Pop?
Yes.
Like, Jen, it's truly outrageous, truly, truly outrageous. I wonder if that's a reference to that. You think so? Like,
it might be.
Because it's direct, like, it's directly the same quote. Oh, B. Wakely, you're not in my purse. I'm not, like, just gonna, like, I don't want you to buy, like, too many things for me. Or, like, things for me. You gotta buy stuff for yourself, dude.
Unless you're getting naked pictures in return, then...
Who wants naked pictures of me? At least not until I'm done. Not until I'm done shaping my abs. One thing I will never do though is shave again. Like I like for swimming. For swimming, I used to. I can't tell you what to do. You're correct. So you can technically do with your money whatever you want. But I used to back when I was a swimmer in high school. You know, they used to make you completely shave your body to just shave off a few seconds. Get it? It's ironic. That's actually where the shaving off seconds probably comes from in racing. Those body hairs apparently lag you. But oh, I hated it. I like the hairy chest. You gotta have the hairy chest. Right, Gimli?
Oh, yeah. I gave up on doing that, man.
On shaving or having a hairy chest?
On shaving.
Oh, okay. I was like... You're right, we should... Alright, Door Company, see you later. We should stop talking so much about, that and maybe spectate another game here. Alright, I'm gonna hop into one of the random spec live games. I was looking for one. Swain Gretzky joined Curse, the lower team, Curse Academy. Grizzz?
What was that?
Swain Gretzky joined Curse Academy?
I don't know. My internet's been down for the last, like, 5 days, so this is the first day it's actually been
I don't know
running.
if he's a sub. Is he a sub for, like, actual Curse, or is he a sub for Curse Academy?
That I'm not 100% sure on.
Or did Swain Gretzky win the 1v1 tournament? Ruby, you can answer that question. Did he win the 1v1 tournament? Well, we just came in to see Swain Gretzky getting taken down for First Blood, and I guess Swain Gretzky actually won the 1v1 tournament, so... which is bad for me not knowing, considering our organization cast it, but I more did all my casting on the first day, so I didn't really have much to do with the second day. Alright, well, just looking in this game here, we're going to see a Vladimir top lane going against, I guess, looks like to be a Diana. Nasus in the jungle against Lee Sin. Obvious differences in aggression there and item builds. Very different playstyle champions, but both very, very strong gankers. Mid lane, we're going to see Lux versus TF, both bringing a lot of kind of global pressure to the table. Lux's build kind of confusing me. Probably a mistake, though. Looks like the Lux possibly got, you know, an extra fairy charm and just rolled with it. And then bot lane, we're going to see a late game kind of lane. We're going to see Janna and Vayne. Janna obviously there to try and help Vayne survive the early game. Janna fairly good at peeling and lane control. Against Caitlyn Leona, who, you know, Caitlyn not the best synergy with Leona, but both are very strong laners, and they're literally going to do a lot. And there comes the strong gank pressure from Lee Sin that I was telling you about.
Well, unfortunately, I still think Gnosis with his Wither is a lot stronger late game jungler than Lee Sin.
Oh, no doubt. Nasus late game is going to do a lot more than Lee Sin.
You know, it's one of those things you have to think, do you trade strong and hard burst damage jungler, or do you kind of like hold on, wait for more towards a late mid to early late game strong Nasus jungler?
Well, I'd have to say Nasus jungle is even strong. It's strong all game almost, and this Vayne is just getting crushed.
Yeah, Vayne going in a little too strong and taking quite a bit of minion damage along with Caitlyn's damage, just getting bursted down there.
Caitlyn really just has so much burst damage in the early game. Falls off a little bit in the late game, but as long as she does really well early to mid game, she tends to hold true and still do a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, I tend to like a Caitlyn on my team more than a Varus or even a Vayne. It's a 50-50 between Graves or Caitlyn, just depending on team synergy. If you can line them all up, I'd pick Caitlyn, but if it's more of a kind of single your targets out, it's definitely Graves or Graves' first ability.
Wait, what are we talking about? Sorry, Ruby.
For like kind of burst damage, you know how you're saying Caitlyn, the way she synergizes, she doesn't synergize very well with Leona.
No, I said she does, but they're better in my opinion.
Well, yeah, there are quite a bit better than Caitlyn and Leona. Caitlyn is actually really strong with the Nunu jungler.
Ooh, a lot. That literally.
Not Nunu jungler, Nunu support.
Okay, apparently I've been told CA is Curse Academy's tag, and CRS is used for the actual team Curse. So Swain Gretzky actually a sub for Curse Gaming, I guess taking first place in the tournament. And going back to what you were saying, yeah, Leona honestly one of probably I'd actually have to say that Caitlyn. Probably in the top 3 for laning with Leona. But I definitely like Graves with the Leona pick. Graves, very, very aggressive and has a lot of early game damage, and he carries that into mid game extremely well.
Absolutely, and going to item builds, I'm just going to start off with what I have at top, which is mid. Actually, Lux working her double fairy charm in the Chalice of Harmony and the Fiendish Codex.
Okay, so maybe it
So
was
not a
an
mistake,
actual.
Vi.
No.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. If you're playing mid, it is always a good bet to start off double fairy charm, so you have that extra sustain because you can spam your abilities, especially on Lux. Most good Lux players do build the double fairy charm.
Yeah, this is the
game.
first time I've seen it. So, but
a lot of the good Luxes will build that.
Yeah, I can see how it'd work out and be really good.
And unfortunately, here comes the awesomeness of the Nasus ganking.
You just can't escape from a Wither.
Yeah, unfortunately, if your flash is down and Wither's on you, you are dead.
It's a 75% slow, something like that.
Yes, and an attack speed reducer.
Actually, it's by 35%, but that's still huge. And I believe it goes up. It goes up.
It does increase, and it does max out at 75%. But that's for like the last, I think, few seconds.
Yeah.
But as you can see, with that middle gank going down and the lack of wards on the purple team, blue team will be able to pick up that easy dragon.
I don't even know. Isn't there a champion with like 99% slow or something ridiculous? I know Thresh has 95.
Thresh is the only one.
No, Thresh has 95. He gets close.
There is no 99% speed reducer in the game. The highest one was Thresh with his ultimate.
Okay, just to answer some of the chat's questions, what they buffed Nasus with, Wither has always been this strong. Wither did not get touched, I believe. The only thing, I believe the Wither, they made it, the things that were really buffed on Nasus is his Q, and they made it more cost-effective mana-wise, so you can use it without having it pretty much kill you in lane. And so you don't have to make that. When you used to play Nasus in Season 2, you had to make them okay, do I want to poke with Spirit Fire, or do I want to use Q? Because both of them are, one Spirit Fire drained a fourth of your mana. It was really ridiculous, and you had to build mana first, or you just couldn't do anything. It was all about balancing your mana with Nasus, and what they did is they fixed that a little bit, and they buffed Nasus's ultimate, making it so it increases wither duration, and it added a very, very nice combo there by Lux.
It's a 1-for-1, but that's Lux versatility.
Yeah. Just going with what I was saying again, they pretty much just improve his ultimate and his Q. That was silly. That was kind of silly.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But didn't they also increase the damage that's dealt? Because when you ult with Nasus, it's best to have a lot of minions around you, because the more people that are caught up in your ultimate, the more damage that you deal.
I think it's only champions, though. I
thought it also incorporated minions as well.
Might have.
Let's see here. Nasus. Nasus becomes empowered in the Sandstorm for 15 seconds, increasing his maximum health by 300, attack range by 50, and cast range by 100. While the storm rages, he deals 3 plus 0% of nearby enemies a maximum health each second. So...
Oh, you're right. So, it does increase for minions as well.
So yeah, if someone tries to gank you and you're in a bunch of minions, just pop your ultimate and watch them die.
Yeah, not only that, but it does give a lot of other things. And there goes the Wither. Powerful slow there. Nasus does have his ultimate, and you're going to see it do a lot more damage. It does increase, I believe, his Wither range and his auto attack range by a little bit. Other than that, yeah, he's just going to be able to dive the tower there, get a double kill. No problem.
Scumbag Vayne going in and taking his kill. Cough, cough. This Vayne is a real terrible AD carry. Just bad positioning.
Who likes soybeans anyway?
I like soybeans.
Well, I do too. Edamame.
As I just said, the terrible playstyle of this Vayne, getting herself killed by walking into a trap.
Definitely. One thing I'd like to note is he's building what I like to call the desperation build on AD carry.
Ooh, nice snipe by Lux coming down there.
Not gonna notice it, but that's again where Lux can apply global pressure just as TF can. Not quite as much, but still puts a decent amount out with that long range on the laser. Yeah,
well, unfortunately, Lux's, I would say her global cooldown control is a lot higher than TS because of the cooldown that her ultimate is on compared to TS cooldown on his ultimate.
What are you talking about? Lux has like 60, 40, 30.
If you build cooldown reduction early on, her ultimate will be up every 30 seconds.
Yeah, early on, level 1 Final Spark has a 60-second cooldown. TF, his ultimate, pretty much double that.
Okay, it's not 60 seconds anymore because she has a 20% cooldown reduction right now with the Themes on Holy Grail.
Yeah, but it's base 60-second cooldown, as I was saying. Look at like it's already up.
Yeah, see, her ultimate's
on
ridiculous
that's only level. That's only
TS.
level 1. It reduces cooldown.
They use their ultimates almost close to the same time. TS was about 15 seconds later, and TS isn't even just barely past the halfway mark on cooldown.
Yeah. Well, TF's base is double Lux's. TF's base ultimate cooldown is double.
Yes, but Lux doesn't have to run very far out of line to pick up snipes or deal extra damage during a team fight.
Yeah. No, I agree. Lux is definitely better. Not that one though. Kind of not really hitting anybody.
No, you have to be good. But she did get that good snipe onto that Janna. But yeah, you have to hit your ultimates in order for them to be effective.
Definitely. But like I was saying, the Vayne build currently is what I like to call the desperation build on an AD carry, and it's where you literally build because you can buy nothing better. You just buy a pickaxe, and you really should be able to buy a BF sword by the time you back a second time. It's something that you want to like strive to get, and when you have to buy something like a pickaxe, it tends to show that you're either a little bit desperate or something like that. I just think it shows you're either a little behind or you're a little desperate.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with that gank and dragon going down on bottom, it just gave this Vladimir the ability to kind of catch up on creep, but to also take down that tower to even out the global gold, even though purple team is still down by, what is that, 4K, roughly 4K lead that they have over the blue team right now.
Wakely, it's not so much I don't know, it's not so much the fact that you're of course you're gonna build it into an infinity edge, something like that, but you really getting the pickaxe when your opponent gets the BF sword, that's a huge difference. Let me scroll over here just to show you. Pickaxe only 25, where a BT
45.
Yeah, it's 45. So that's an extra 20 AD, which can really make a difference.
That's in all practicality 20. Just the low balling, 20 more damage per auto attack that you're dealing over that other AD.
Yeah. So every 5 auto attacks, which will happen, about in a course of like 4 seconds, about.
Yep.
So in every 4 seconds, you're doing an extra 100 damage in early game. That can make the difference. Also, you gotta affect critical strikes. Critical strikes go off AD, so they'll just percentage-wise do more. I mean, you do have to also. I used to have this thing where getting a pickaxe before your BF sword is the worst. But if all you can afford is a pickaxe, it's not a bad buy. Like, don't make me let you think it's a bad buy. It just, the reason I call it the desperation build, because it's a clear indication that your lane opponent is behind. Like, you are ahead of your lane opponent. He cannot afford to get the item that would be good for him right now.
Yeah, and this Lee Sin just trying everything in the book to blowing, you know, flash, dropping a ward to try and catch up, just trying to blow in everything he can in his book just to try and keep this Nasus and Rage of Leona so they can try and pick him off, but had to back away with the TF ult.
I do have to say that was really well played by the TF. Things were flying on both sides of him and just like gunning at him, and he was still able to dodge the laser, dodge the trap, dodge the binding, and force them away from that tower. So I have to say this TF is playing fairly well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this Nasus is actually really going strong and turning a lot of team engagements into their favor as long as his ultimate is in play.
So I wonder if Swain Gretzky moved into the base house now.
It's a nice house.
Yeah, I mean, I eventually want to do, like my friends and I talked about it. I don't even know if this is still the plan, but we really want to get a house after college is done, just all together. Looks like we have confirmation that as far as Ruby knows, he hasn't moved in. Did I lose Grizz?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Just wondering. So
no, I'm just looking over item buys right now.
Yeah. I'm just gonna look quickly at the item builds. We do see Diana getting that Nashor's Tooth, first major finished item. Nashor's Tooth does, I believe, stack with Diana's passive, also giving her a nice chunk of ability power and cooldown reduction. Never a bad thing. But Vladimir opting for Spell Pen has decent base stats, and one thing that I notice is really not common for Vladimir anymore is back in Season 2, early Season 2, you saw Vladimir's getting WODAs all the time, but it's just WODA doesn't put out the same amount of damage, it just gives you more sustain, but when they can burst you down, you don't really, you know, I guess need the sustain quite as much, so I guess maybe that's why we've seen it fall off. Getting WODA on a Vladimir. Now we see them get penetration, get slow, and get lots of things.
Well, you're starting to see a lot more Vladimirs going Tankamirs as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But Vladimir always got really tanky.
Well, yeah, because you have to build them really health sustained, but even then you build Warmogs on them, you build Sunfire Cape on them.
But then again, that because of his passive, that gives him ability power. That gives him more damage. I believe it's for every 10 health he gets 1 ability power, and for every let me look just to make sure.
Every 40 points of bonus health.
40 points. Yeah, you're right. 10 would be a fucking OP. And then for every I believe it's. I got a question. Is Vladimir's ult? It's only the base health he gets from items. Like his passive doesn't stack with the other benefits from his passive, correct?
Correct. Because it only affects one target area, and it's only a 12% increased damage for 5 seconds, and it inflicts 250 plus a certain percentage of his ability power of magic damage.
Yeah. So, just going back down in the jungler, we do see Locket coming down. I don't see many Nasuses going for Locket, especially this early. I usually see Nasuses love to get a frozen gauntlet, an Iceborne gauntlet. Very popular item on Nasus because it does so well with him. It allows him to pretty much stick on people, gives him some armor, which makes his ultimate, which gives him health, even better. It makes him a lot more unkillable. But Locket, very useful item, and it's very cost efficient and very good.
Yeah, for the most part on the Locket, I really only see not Lee Sin, but Jin Zhao's rushing that as first item in the jungle. Never a Nasus.
And I do have to say, TF getting that Lichbane. One of our champion discussions, the first one we had was actually about TF, the card master. So we had a long talk about Lichbane and a lot of things that TF can do. Just looking at this, he did max wildcards first. TF needs to max wildcards first. it's really kind of necessary to make him survive his lane. He doesn't have the strongest lane presence, but you know, getting caught out.
But Jenna, they're able to disengage for him.
Yeah, but he needs to max those wild cards. Gives him the lane presence and gives him the damage he needs to kind of survive his lane, or else he would literally just be bullied out. It also assists him with farming, but Lichbane giving him that extra movement speed, which he desperately needs, and just a lot of cooldown reduction damage. No, not cooldown reduction, sorry. Gives him mana, ability power, and movement speed, and
it's really, the Lichbane's more of a burst item, because of the fact of his cards are on such a low cooldown. I mean, I did build a cooldown reduction TF, and you could only reduce his wild cards to 2.8 seconds.
Yeah, I actually came up with the idea of a possible maxing your stack deck first, but it just wouldn't work. You could do it on ADTF, but other than that,
hold it, partner.
It's not really viable.
No. Stack deck as an AP, it should be the last item maxed out. It should be Q. Well, obviously you get your ult whenever it's up, but Q, W, your wild card, and your pick a card.
Yeah. Definitely, and Malphus actually queued us in on a build for TF where sometimes TF will they'll get in early Kages and they'll build Lichbane, and after that they will go for a Twin Shadows, and that will literally make him like a kite machine. Like he will literally be able to kite all day, and because he has the slow, he has his gold card, he has the movement speed from both Twin Shadows and Lichbane, and a decent amount of damage. Lichbane gives, what, 80 ability power? Yeah, 80 ability power, and Twin Shadows gives about 45. So.
Yeah, but in all honesty, you have to think, do you want kite ability or do you want burst damage? Whereas normally, typically, you should always build a Rap Hat first. On TF, just so you have that large burst damage, then the Lichbane. I don't think I would ever play TF the way that he suggested, just due to the simple fact of his burst damage wouldn't be as great without that Rab Hat. Because I do play TF quite a bit mid.
Yeah. Rabadon's Death Cap definitely giving him a lot of damage, which makes him a lot more burstable. As you can see, TF's wild cards, they are one of the main sources of his damage other than pick a card, but his wild cards just hurt so much. So Lux, building a very, very common Athenes, Lux has a lot of mana problems in the early game. Athenes really makes up for that and gives a substantial amount of damage. Another reason that buying Chalice is good, really in the early game, Chalice does give a little bit of defense against your lane opponent if you're obviously if you're fighting against another mid laner that's not an AD like Lee Sin or Jarvan or Jace or something like that. If you're fighting against another AP caster, it gives you a little defense. Alternatively, it gives you the mana you need to spam your spells and gives you a little more sustain, so even if you're against someone who out-pushes you, like a Heimerdinger or something, you have all that early sustain.
I mean, absolutely, especially on champions that, your auto attacks deal, almost nothing unless you have your proc on them from your abilities. Always build Athenes on Lux, and I also build it on Malphite, even if I'm doing a tank Malphite pop, if I'm ever given the chance to in ranked. Just Athenes is an all-around great item for mana-heavy champions. Ziggs and Swain.
Swain we see sometimes can also go Chalice first as well. I mean, not
yes.
Chalice, can also go
Rod of Ages.
Rod of Ages, Catalyst first.
Yes.
So.
But obviously, blue team showing their dominance with Nasus's really strong ganking early game, And, what's up, Don? Fucker. Sorry about that. I got attacked.
That's okay. Yeah, I have to agree. Nasus's ganks definitely changed a lot of the fights, and Lee Sin did some pretty good ganks there. And it's not by all means Lux was very, very strong in the early game, and blue team's bot lane was getting beaten pretty hard. But then again, all you need is a Vayne to get to late game. Vayne typically is one of those lose lane win game champions, where as long as you like survive, as long as you can at least, you know, drag yourself through the early game, you pretty much do all right, because your ult gives you 45 attack damage. So typically when you hit 6 and onward, you can actually just, you know, perform at a good level still.
Absolutely. And I hate saying absolutely, but it's such a perfect word to say. If TF, really good pick for mid. Lux, everyone's saying Lux, strong mid. TF really counters Lux very well, just because of the range of his wild card, and if you can hit that, if you can force that Lux to run into him or keep her on her toes and constantly moving, that gives her the ability to mess up on her skill shots. Actually, one champion that I would really like to see played more, that's a really good counter to Lux and TF both together, is Malzahar.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely that his level 6 is very strong, and the space aids, as we all like to call it so much, really is just good at not only farming at a good range, but just if it jumps on an enemy champion, that does a lot of damage as well.
Absolutely.
I do have to say though, Lux, in my opinion, has one of the strongest kits of any AP caster, which is why we've been seeing so much of her. I mean, she has a snare, she has a slow, which, is extremely mana inefficient, but it does a decent amount of damage. She has a shield, which I think does about, even at level 1, I think it's an 80 point shield plus ability power. So you're going to have, like, if you have a level 1 or level 2 fight, you literally prevent about 160 damage, which is huge for a level 2 or 3 engagement. That's a lot of damage, and that's per person. So you can really do a lot. You can really do a lot. I just read the chat, Grizz.
Yeah, dude, it hurt, man. It hurt.
You Gimli. You should have a drink.
But yeah, I mean, if we look back, just overall, just throughout the whole entire team fight, Vladimir 13, Leona 12, Caitlyn 13, Lux 14, Lee Sin 13, Diana 17, Nasus 16, Twisted Fate 18, Janna 13, Vayne 14. Obviously, bottom lane didn't have that much of a fun time throughout the entire game, but you had middle, TF, Nasus in the jungle, Diana up top, just wreaking havoc on the enemy team. And those three champions together are strong by themselves. They synergize really well together. Nasus's Wither allows TF to come up, stun card him, allows Diana to get her Q off, ult in, pull back. No one's getting away from that 3 combo right there.
Oh, definitely not. They did have a lot of CC, but Vayne again, just every time I see a Vayne, you have to shut her down so hard in the mid game, the early game. Unless you do that, she just comes back. There's no way to keep her in the pit forever. And Vayne his silver bolts are perfect at countering the tank meta. Well, and she has the capacity to outplay a lot of people with just because that invisibility is essentially like, a split-second Zanya, is a deke targeting of a tower. Like it's very useful.
Yeah, but to counter that, they had a Diana, and a Diana is actually really a perfect assassin to go against a Vayne.
Yeah, she does. She has 2 dashes?
She has her dash on her ultimate and her suckback, which in mid-tumble will still get pulled back.
Yeah, but if you wait till after that and then just condemn or tumble after that, you still get the invisibility. I mean, of course there are ways to counter Vayne, or you can just flash and things of that nature.
No, I still say I've seen a lot of really good Vayne players get owned by mediocre Diana players. That's just one champion that I have seen that really counters a Vayne hard, other than Shaco.
Yeah. And about surrendering, at least for me, I believe you should never surrender because
never give up, never surrender.
Never give up, never surrender, because you never know the game will be turned around. Like it's literally like the opponents could make such a big mistake, they could all DC for all you know, but you should just never completely give up or surrender, you know?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Never, ever surrender. I had, for instance, a ranked game. We were 20 kills behind, but we had enough creep farm to where we were able, we were still, I'd say, down a good 8k gold, and it was 50 minutes in. Single Baron team fight. We aced them, won the game. That's all it takes is a single ace.
Yeah, like in the late game, it doesn't even come down to like, who's pushing anymore, because one killing them is literally you have 60 seconds. You could tank towers and just kill the Nexus, or you could take Baron. You can even win like 3v5 or 4v5. Like, especially if you have a hyper carry, 80 carry like Kog'Maw or Vayne, who can literally chunk people, and a decent tank wall. I remember this one game we had, a Kog'Maw, an MF. I forget why we had 280 carries, and we had Kog'Maw and MF, and I think the last person left was like a Malphite, or maybe a Maokai. I think it was a Maokai. But we had a tank wall. MF, I was such a strong 80 carry. It was back in Season 2, and Kog'Maw was incredibly, incredibly strong. Like, Kog'Maw would fucking 4-shot every single person. But it was 3v5, and they kept being like, surrender, surrender, you're going to lose. We literally held out for like 90 minutes, and then finally, eventually, they got the jump on us. But, I mean, it was fun.
My team was terrible, but we did have a carry who did have a lot of attack speed for some reason, and it was 48 minutes into the game. I'm the only one up. I'm playing Gragas. They go to Baron, and they were all half health after the team fight. So I'm running up to Baron. I throw my Q in, which is just my barrel, knock all of them down to super low. They try running out of Baron Pit. I ulted them all back into Baron Pit. Ezreal obviously flashed over the wall, got away, but I wound up picking up a quadra kill with the Baron assist.
Baron too strong.
And wound up winning that game with the Baron and our super freaking attack speed. I think it was a Caitlyn, and we just pushed the turrets and won.
Yeah. So, that will be pretty much it for Casted Games Night tonight. Those two games were pretty long games. So, just remember, I'm going to quickly shift over here. You can see our scheduled events. Tonight is Tuesday, so we are having game analysis night. Tomorrow's casual games night. Feel free to tune into that. Community night's on Thursday. And you can see our tournament is on Saturday, and Friday D&D night if you feel like tuning into that and seeing other stuff. Remember, follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and we have our new website, towerdive.tv. Really, really good. And if you like me as a caster, remember, follow me at Sockymans on Twitter. I also have Facebook and Grizzz. You have either of those social media?
I think this is it. Think that's it. I don't get onto Twitter that much.
Okay, so but yeah, still, if you want to follow him, go ahead and do that. Well, he checks on that. But hey, thanks for everyone who's watching. I still need to eventually commandeer the stream at night and play some more games. I've just been school has been really busy, so I've been trying to focus my efforts on that as much as possible.
And as soon as my new laptop gets here, I'll be streaming a lot of Black Ops too.
School is not for fools.
No, it is not for fools.
It is necessary.
Well, okay. School is not always necessary. If you want to become a welder, welders do make about the average doctorate nowadays if you live in California.
But you still need to go to trade school.
No, you don't need to go to trade school. The companies have their own in-system certificates that they have you go through, and if you can pass them, hey, you're a certified welder.
Okay. Well,
But crappy hours, you're working 80 hours a week, so yeah, no fun, no life, no gaming. So go to school.
you go to school if you want a nice, cushy 9-to-5 job where you make a decent salary enough to buy good internet and a house or an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 10-year plan. But after college, get a job, save up for my own place with decent internet, and then just play video games, chill, go to bars with my friends. Sounds like a good plan, right?
Absolutely, that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah. So, thanks for watching, guys.
Deuces, heart you all.